Yesterday, we started on the new chapter, chapter 5, the way to a fortunate rebirth. We stopped at this paragraph talking about unwholesome karma. And today, we are going to read further into the wholesome karma. What is wholesome karma? Wholesome karma, on the other hand, is action that is spiritually beneficial and morally commendable. It is action that ripens in happiness and good fortune. Its underlying motives are the three wholesome roots: non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion, which may be expressed more positively as generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom. Whereas actions springing from the unwholesome roots are necessarily bound to the world of repeated birth and death, actions springing from the wholesome roots may be of two kinds: mundane and world-transcending. The mundane, lokia, wholesome actions have the potential to produce a fortunate rebirth and pleasant results within the rounds of rebirth. The world-transcending or supramundane, lokutara, wholesome actions, namely the karma generated by developing the Noble Eightfold Path and the other aids to enlightenment, lead to enlightenment and to liberation from the round of rebirth. This is the karma that dismantles the entire process of karmic causation. Okay, let's take a look again. Firstly, Bhikkhu Bodhi defines the definition of wholesome action. Action that is spiritually beneficial, firstly. Secondly, morally commendable. It is also an action that brings us happiness, brings us good fortune. What are its underlying motives? As opposites to the unwholesome actions, here, the above highlighted in orange, greed, hatred, and delusion. This one, the root is non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. While if you use non-greed, this may simplify like something passive, but we can also express this more positively, as Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned. Non-greed, you can use generosity, the act of giving, the willingness to give, generosity. Non-hatred, the opposite of non-hatred, the synonym of non-hatred would be loving kindness, the intention of goodwill. And non-delusion, you can also call it as a wisdom. What is wisdom? The knowledge of things as they truly are. So, previous paragraph, we've seen that unwholesome actions bound to the world of repeated birth and death. Let me highlight this. But actions from the wholesome roots may be of two kinds. Why two kinds? The one is mundane, and the second one is world transcending, sometimes translated as supramundane. So why is unwholesome roots only one kind within samsara, within round of rebirths, but the wholesome roots can be two kinds? Here Bhikkhu Bodhi explains, well, when you do wholesome actions, if you do good deeds, for example, donate to charity or volunteer to some activists, go to the old folks people, still have the potential to produce a fortunate rebirth, pleasant results, still within the round of samsara. Yeah. But the second type of wholesome actions, you practice the Noble Eightfold Path. This is what Bhikkhu Bodhi call world transcending or supramundane, Lokuttara. Yeah. This is the actions that can transcend the round of rebirth, yeah, lead to enlightenment and to liberation. Okay. Next one, Sister Choi Kwan, would you like to read? Oh, we can't hear you, Sister Choi Kwan. I think your mic, some issue.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can. Yes.
Okay. The correlation between karma and its result is indicated in a general way in text 5.1.1. This sutta refers to unwholesome action as dark karma and mundane wholesome action as bright karma. It also refers to a type of karma that is both dark and bright. Strictly speaking, this does not denote a single action that simultaneously partakes of both unwholesome and wholesome characteristics. Technically, such a thing is impossible, for an action must be one or the other. The combined karma refers to the conduct of a person who intermittently engages in both unwholesome and wholesome behavior. Finally, the sutta speaks of a fourth type of karma that is neither dark nor bright. This is the action of developing the Noble Eightfold Path, the wholesome world transcending karma. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Choi Kwan. Okay, now we start to take a look at the first sutta. This one, this sutta talks about the correlation between karma and its results. Unwholesome karma here is referred to as dark karma, and not just wholesome karma, but mundane wholesome action as bright karma. Let me highlight this. Blue. And then it talks about karma that is both dark and bright. But Bhikkhu Bodhi notes here that, strictly speaking, this is impossible because an action must be either wholesome or unwholesome. Yeah. Let me see. So what does combined karma mean? Yeah, both dark and bright. Here Bhikkhu Bodhi says a person who intermittently engages in both unwholesome and wholesome behavior. Yeah, actually, like most of us, in the morning when we meditate, maybe we do wholesome behavior. But when we talk, let's say with our family or our sister, all kinds of unwholesome speech come up. Okay. And the last one, finally, the sutta speaks fourth type of karma, which we have just visited here. You see the one highlighted in blue. The world transcending supramundane wholesome action. Yeah, these two qualifiers are important. The action of developing the Noble Eightfold Path. Yeah, like Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned over here. The wholesome world transcending karma. Yeah. If it's only wholesome karma, it can refer to both mundane and world transcending. Yeah. So you need to add world transcending karma here. It is the karma that, as Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned before, that can lead you to enlightenment. Yeah. If it's only wholesome, mundane karma, it will give you beneficial results, but still within the round of rebirth. Okay, next paragraph, Sister Saikyang, would you like to read?
Okay, so let's look at how to develop the Noble Eightfold Path. It cannot be emphasized strongly enough that for early Buddhism, an understanding and acceptance of this principle of karma and its fruit is an essential component of right view. Right view has two aspects: the world-bound or mundane aspects, which pertains to life within the world, and the supramundane or world-transcending aspect, which pertains to the path to liberation. The world-transcending right view includes an understanding of the Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, and the three marks of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. For early Buddhism, this world-transcending right view cannot be taken up in isolation from mundane right view. Rather, it presupposes and depends upon the sound support of mundane right view, which means a firm conviction in the validity of the law of karma and its unfolding through the process of rebirth.
Okay, thanks, Sister Saikyang. Let's take a look at footnotes number 3. Okay, this is a long one. Okay, then let's take a look first. What does it refer to? This line talks about right view with two aspects. Highlight blue. The world-bound and the mundane aspect. Okay, let's read the footnotes. For the distinction between these two types of right view, see Majjhima Nikaya 117, not included in this book. In the technical terminology of the Pali commentators, even the insight into the three characteristics, impermanence, suffering, non-self, and knowledge of the originative aspect of dependent origination are still mundane, logia, because the objects are mundane phenomena. In the commentarial system, only the direct cognition of the unconditioned, nibbana, is classified as supramundane right view. However, I here use the term supramundane and world transcending, lokotara, in a broader sense, as referring to the knowledge and view, and more broadly to all practices that lead to the transcending of the world. So this footnote explains the difference between Bhikkhu Bodhi and the commentarial system. Bhikkhu Bodhi's preference and the classic commentarial system. And we have also read this in depth in the previous book, The Noble Eightfold Path, about in the chapter of right view. Okay, let's continue reading, Sister. Let's see. I think we can read 2 more paragraphs. Sister Aikim, would you like to read?
To accept the law of karma entails a radical transformation in our understanding of our relationship to the world. The twin doctrines of karma and rebirth enable us to see that the world in which we live in is important respect, an external reflection of the internal cosmos of the mind. This does not mean that the external world can be reduced to a mental projection in the way proposed by certain types of philosophical idealism. However, taken in conjunction, these two doctrines do show that the conditions under which we live closely correspond to the karmic tendencies of our minds. The reason why a living being is reborn into a particular realm is because in a previous life that being has generated the karma or volitional action that leads to rebirth into that realm. Thus, in a final analysis, all the realms of existence have been formed, fashioned and sustained by the mental activity of living beings. As the Buddha says, for beings obstructed by ignorance and hindered by craving, karma is the fuel, consciousness the seed, and craving the moisture. For consciousness to be established in a new realm of existence, either inferior, middling, or superior. Anuttara Nikaya 3.76, section 223, sorry.
Thanks, Sister Akim. Let's take a footnote number 4. For a fuller discussion of the psychological basis of early Buddhist cosmology, see Getting, the Foundations of Buddhism. Okay, so this paragraph, let's see. Bhikkhu Bodhi says, the law of karma is a radical transformation in our understanding of our relationship to the world. The twin doctrines of karma, let's say, enables us to see that the world in which we live, the current one, in important respects, an external reflection of the internal cosmos of the mind. So wherever we are at right now is actually an external reflection of our own mind. How is it so? Okay, firstly, Bhikkhu Bodhi says, this does not mean that the external world can be reduced merely to external projection, to a mental projection. But this one is important. The conditions under which we live closely correspond to the karmic tendencies of our mind. What does that mean? If we do a retrograde analysis or like reverse engineering, how did we end up in the human realms? It is because of our past karma. We have the tendencies to act like a human, and then that's how we end up in the human realm. So if you think about it, actually, in this life, how did we end up at our current situation? It's probably some actions of our past, isn't it? Like, for example, how did I end up staying in Singapore, even though I'm Indonesian, for example? So in the past, maybe I did study for some kind of exam that if I study hard, then I can pass the requirements to be able to study in Singapore. So the actions of me studying determines where I currently, the conditions under which I live now. So in this way, it mimics. Also, if you take it broader in the bigger picture, how did we end up in human realm? And more importantly, where do we want to end up in the next life? And then we should act accordingly to that realm, to the realm that we want to end up with. If you want to end maybe in heavenly realms, maybe we have to act like a heavenly being. If we act like animals, maybe we will end up in the animals realms. If we keep doing unwholesome actions, maybe we'll end up in the hell realms. Okay, so this paragraph is pretty interesting to me. Okay, I think it's a little bit over time, but is it okay if we read one more paragraph? Sister Julie, would you like to read?
The next selection, that's text, is it 5? B? Yes. Yeah, part 1 draws a final distinction among the types of unwholesome and wholesome karma. The text enumerates 10 primary instances of each class. Here they are called respectively unrighteous conduct, conduct not in accordance with the Dharma, and righteous conduct, which is conduct in accordance with the Dharma. But they're usually known as the 10 pathways of unwholesome and wholesome karma. The 10 are subdivided by way of the 3 doors of action, which is through our body, our speech, and our mind. Taking the unwholesome first, there are 3 kinds of bodily misconduct, which is killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. There are 4 kinds of verbal misconduct, which is lying, malicious speech, harsh speech, and idle chatter or gossip. And there are 3 kinds of mental misconduct, which are covetousness, ill will, and wrong view. The 10 causes of wholesome action are their exact opposites. Abstinence from the 3 kinds of bodily misconduct, abstinence of the 4 kinds of verbal misconduct, and non-covetous goodwill and right will. According to the sutta, the 10 types of unwholesome karma are the reason that beings are reborn in the bad destinations after death. The 10 types of wholesome karma are the reason that beings are reborn in a good destination after death. As the sutta shows, the 10 types of wholesome karma are the support, not only for heavenly rebirth, but also for the destruction of the taints, the entertainment, which is the destruction of the taints, I think, the attainment of liberation.
Okay, thanks, Sister Jolene.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, so this paragraph talks again about the wholesome actions and how it's divided, draws a final distinction. So it consists of 10 wholesome actions and 10 unwholesome actions, and which we have visited also in the previous book, the Noble Eightfold Path. Let's take a look quickly at footnotes number 5. Respectively, Dasa Akusala Kamapata and Dasa Kusala Kamapata. These are the Pali words. And the reference to the sutta, if you are interested. Anguttara Nikaya and Digha Nikaya. Okay, I think this is a good time to stop. Any questions or comments from you? If not, would Sister Jolene like to do the closing dedication?
I need to share the slide, right?
You don't have to. You can directly do it.
Okay, never mind. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了。普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。
Thanks, Sister Jolene. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a supra-mundane Saturday ahead.